The co-tutor returned to Parliament more a monarch than king, queen, and cardinal, all three together. By his advice a decree from Parliament summoned the citizens to lay down their arms and demolish the barricades. They now knew that it required but 1 hour to take up arms again, and 1 night to reconstruct the barricades. Rochefort had returned to the Chevalier de Humieres his 50 horsemen, less 2, missing at roll call. But the Chevalier was himself at heart a Frondist, and would hear nothing said of compensation. The mendicant had gone to his old place on the steps of St. Eustache, and was again distributing holy water with one hand and asking alms with the other. No one could suspect that those two hands had been engaged with others in drawing out from the social edifice the keystone of royalty. Lauvieres was proud and satisfied. He had taken revenge on Mazarin and had aided in his father's deliverance from prison. His name had been mentioned as a name of terror at the Palais Royal. Laughingly, he said to the councillor, restored to his family, "Do you think, father, that if now I should ask for a company the queen would give it to me?" D'Artagnan profited by this interval of calm to send away Raoul, whom he had great difficulty in keeping shut up during the riot, and who wished positively to strike a blow for one party or the other. Raoul had offered some opposition at first, but D'Artagnan made use of the Comte de la Féry's name, and after paying a visit to Madame de Chevreuse, Raoul started to rejoin the army. Rochefort alone was dissatisfied with the termination of affairs. He had written to the Duc de Beaufort to come, and the duke was about to arrive, and he would find Paris tranquil. He went to the co-tutor to consult with him whether it would not be better to send word to the duke to stop on the road, but Gondy reflected for a moment, and then said, "Let him continue his journey." "All is not then over?" asked Rochefort. "My dear count, we have only just begun." "What induces you to think so?" "The knowledge that I have of the queen's heart. She will not rest contented beaten." "Is she, then, preparing for a stroke?" "I hope so." "Come, let us see what you know." "I know that she has written to the prince to return in haste from the army." "Ah, ha!" said Rochefort. "You are right, we must let Monsieur de Beaufort come." In fact, the evening after this conversation, the report was circulated that the Prince de Conde had arrived. It was a very simple, natural circumstance, and yet it created a profound sensation. It was said that Madame de Longueville, for whom the prince had more than a brother's affection, and in whom he had confided, had been indiscreet. His confidence had unveiled the sinister project of the queen, even on the night of the prince's return. Some citizens, bolder than the rest, such as the sheriffs, captains, and the quartermaster, went from house to house among their friends, saying, "Why do we not take the king and place him in the Hôtel de Ville? It is a shame to leave him to be educated by our enemies, who will give him evil counsel, whereas, brought up by the co-tutor, for instance, he would imbibe national principles and love his people." That night the question was secretly agitated, and on the morrow the grey and black cloaks, the patrols of armed shop people, and the bands of mendicants reappeared. The queen had passed the night in lonely conference with the prince, who had entered the oratory at midnight and did not leave till 5 o'clock in the morning. At 5 o'clock and went to the cardinal's room. If she had not yet taken any repose, he at least was already up. 6 days had already passed out of the 10 he had asked from Mordaunt. He was therefore occupied in revising his reply to Cromwell, when someone knocked gently at the door of communication with the queen's apartments. Anne of Austria alone was permitted to enter by that door. The cardinal therefore rose to open it. The queen was in a morning gown, but it became her still, for, like Diana of Poitiers and Ninon, Anne of Austria enjoyed the privilege of remaining ever beautiful. This morning she looked handsomer than usual, for her eyes had all the sparkle inward satisfaction adds to expression. "What is the matter, madame?" said Mazarin, uneasily. "You seem secretly elated." "Yes, Giulio, she said, proud and happy, for I have found the means of strangling this hydra. You are a great politician. My queen, said Mazarin, let us hear the means. And he hid what he had written by sliding the letter under a folio of blank paper. You know, said the queen, that they want to take the king away from me. Alas, yes, and to hang me. They shall not have the king.